Welcome to Weeaboo Hell. It's Weeaboo Hell. I am Blind Monkey, aka Dinar Dale.
You know, the Turpitz is 0 for life in a goddamn real fight.
And this is my...
We're backstage with the Turpitz in the hood. He had him, just held up in the air by his neck with his little legs going, wee, wee, wee.
Well, Jim, I've got a contrasting opinion, but you pay the bills, so I'm just gonna nod along. That's right, Jim. Keep it up.
Fucking Turpitz. The Bismarck, too. Bismarck, I was reading about a book that the Bismarck was writing. The Bismarck writing a book. I'm surprised the Bismarck's even read a book.
That's right, Jim, that's right. Sorry, Jim, I'm a plant that grows in your corner, and I haven't been able to voice a thought of my own since 2017, when we started this show.
You're just here so that I got someone to yell at real fucking loud.
Fun fact, Jim, for an entire episode, we replaced me with a plant. You spent the entire episode talking about covering Vince Russo's body in lye, putting it on a boat, and floating it out into the middle of the Mediterranean.
I sold his restraining order against me on eBay.
So, tell me, Jim, you ever thought about going on Cameo? Oh, it's that fucking app that people pay celebrities to do, like, say whatever they can come up with.
I did not know about this.
Yeah, I was reading about on Reddit. Some guy had a prank where he got someone's favorite wrestler to congratulate them on coming out of the closet. The person was very decidedly not gay. That's one of those expert level middle school pranks.
Oh, that's pretty fucking great.
Yeah, people are creative. Unlike our first fucking show, which you might have gleaned, is Azure Lane.
Azure Lane marks the entry into this series of discussion about a genre kind of joining isekai in shit I really fucking hate that is just rotting anime from the inside out. This is a gacha anime. Now,
yeah, this one is less of a brain tumor, more of a spinal tumor. Like, it has a high risk of traveling to other areas of the body.
It's dangerous. See, for the uninitiated, and if you're not initiated, then congratulations, you're just better off than me.
True.
Gacha anime is refers to animated adaptations of gacha games. That's Gacha. Although might as well be called gotcha. Got like gotcha.
Yeah. If you want to make Hollywood adaptations of video games feel like high art, try B-grade anime adaptations of low-grade cell phone games.
Yes, gacha games are cell phone games, as Denard has pointed out. They are cell phone games with, they're, free to play with, gacha refers to the sort of coin operated, like vending machine, like the figures that you can get in vending machines, little like figures with the capsules, because that is basically what you're doing in gacha games.
Gacha is also the onomatopoeia for an overdrawn bank account.
I didn't know that.
No, I just made it up.
Oh, okay. Well, you're the one who's been to Japan twice. I kind of trusted your expertise on this one.
Fair enough. All I really learned in Japan was about alcohol poisoning.
That's what I've been led to believe by both you and James on this one. There were times when he peeled off to go to a shrine or something.
It would be cool if I could blame something about the place itself for my behavior, but it's really just me bringing myself to a context where I don't have to work. Evidently, the 9 to 5 at the advertising mill is what's keeping me alive. But back to gacha trash.
Yeah. There are a number of gacha anime this season. There's this one. There's a Fake Grand Order, which...
Wait, there's more of the shit? It's like fucking herpes or something?
No, it's totally herpes. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, it is, like, it seems to be a disease very much in the way that isekai is a disease. We've got at least these two. I think there are like one or two others. I don't know if Grand Blue Fantasy it counts. I think that's actually just an MMO, and Grand Blue Fantasy the animation is just a an adaptation of that MMO. And like, given that Wakfu was decent enough after it had a season or two to mature, like, I'm not going to begrudge that one.
Yeah, I have no idea whether Grand Blue was an MMO or a gacha thing or anything. And whatever it is, it's more morally permissible than Azure Lane's core premise. reducing World War II to
A waifu gallery.
a waifu gallery.
And that's another
Like,
term
how many
that I
years
like
after
to...
that Axis Powers Italia nonsense, like, we're resurrecting this sort of core, like, thematic lens, what, 10, 7? I'll say around 8 years ago. Was it?
8 years ago? I think so. I feel like it was even as little as 5 years ago when it kind of reached its peak. I don't even think that it was the original Sinner. Yes, it was like the one to make moe shit out of
Humanity's greatest tragedy.
Well, we're getting to that. I think I want to call Toho the original Sinner here.
Oh, in terms of the waifu gallery.
In terms of like the waifu gallery thing, like the defilement of history thing, we could go on about that one. I feel like just anime does.
Google the earliest demagogue you can think of, other than your local elected official
or federal elected official.
Yeah. Hey, we almost made it like 10 minutes into this.
No, I wasn't gonna let us. But my point being, the waifu gallery is sort of a umbrella genre that kind of creeps into other genres, where it is a
source zombie.
A source zombie, yeah, where it is sort of a genre of anime that has a either entirely or at the very least predominantly female cast that seems to be totally and completely targeted at single straight men, more or less just so that they can kind of pick out their favorite.
And it's
like
fascinating
Pokemon.
how that doesn't really translate to American marketing tactics. I mean, there's definitely an audience for it, since you can find our own weevils underneath the fucking oven watching this shit. But when we market things towards a certain demographic of sad young men, it's predominantly just filled with dudes talking about duty things. Maybe they're just targeting different underlying desires, or maybe it's just I don't know, trends are trends.
Inviting alt-right personalities onto their podcast.
And inviting alt-right personalities onto their podcast. That's another thing. That's another hobby. You ever seen two macaque monkeys fight, by the way?
I have not.
It looks a lot like this show.
Oh, I feel like I just sandbagged your bit just now. I often do that. No,
I adapt.
But no,
I get stronger, faster.
The waifu gallery always
Smarter.
seemed. The waifu gallery is insidious in the way that so many kind of little zombie genres are.
It basically becomes a replacement for content.
Yes, absolutely.
Actually, I'd say worse than a replacement, or I don't know. I might just be basing it off of this show or my brief exposure to Toho beyond the fun bullet hell elements.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the waifu gallery, it is so difficult to actually cram everyone's fucking waifu in frame or in episode. The plot just diffuses among them like so many threads of yarn or seaweed or whatever your metaphor of choice is.
You will find that you cannot do it and at the same time make a half-decent show, as we learned this evening.
Yeah.
Not that I had any hope for this commercial of a of a TV
if
series.
we're gonna talk about first feet, the first main thing I wrote down, underlined, circled, the words "fuck you" are written here in like these bold block letters I normally don't write.
Oh yeah, no, so like literally the first
words.
The first words of this show were war never changes, and then they added even across any era or even across all eras, some shit like that, so it was just different enough. And I want to know, you think that, like, not enough people have played fucking Fallout in Japan that no one would fucking notice?
Yeah, it's not just plagiarism. It's not just plagiarizing something in the same, like, sort of, I don't know, broad speculative fiction halo or something famous, but ripping off something specific, basically it's targeted towards the same section of humanity as
more or
you.
less. Yeah,
the last thing was in the last, 2 years?
The demos overlap.
Like, the dumbest Fallout players watch this show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think I am sort of supposed to respect things' shamelessness. Like, I was supposed to...
I'm not.
I was supposed to accept Milf Izakai's shamelessness. Like, they went there. It's like, oh man, how can you criticize something that's just so audacious? Like, well, you're kind of only going not even half of the way here. You're only going like a quarter of the way. Yeah, I get it. I get that you're being shameless and you're being audacious here with your Whether it be blatant ripoff or your shameless fan service, or oh god, it's all
I mean,
so
it would be
fucking exhausting.
shameless for me to go to an open mic, take off my left shoe, stick my fingers down my throat, and vomit in said shoe, and then lob that shoe into the audience like a journalist at the fucking president.
But still wouldn't be good stand up.
It wouldn't be great stand up. You wouldn't come to my next show. That said, we did watch 2 entire episodes of this.
It wasn't 2 entire episodes. I'm gonna come clean now. It was 1 whole episode, and then we kind of skipped around a little bit in the second episode because that's all that was out at that point. Just the first 2. I think there's a third one now. I'm not watching it.
All right, so I've just got to keep track of the King of the Hill. It's just for my sake. Mm-hmm. And maybe we should get into more specifics after this, but is this better, worse, or equal to Handshakers in overall terribleness?
So Handshakers was a fucking absolute mess, and there was absolutely nothing behind it, really. They're like I could not grow invested in anything because it's very clear that there are no stakes whatsoever, and as impressive as the show's whole visual sense was,
you weren't worried about who was on top of the ziggurat?
it wasn't even an impressive visual sense. It was just we'll say striking. Striking's still not a neutral enough term, but it's closer. I wasn't impressed with Handshaker's visual sense. I was more just, oh wow, this is loud. This, I can kind of see the death of culture through this, more so than I could with Handshakers.
So this is like the first just quarter of the stand for you. You can just see the buildings falling. You can see the raiders crawling out of the sewers to run through the city streets, finally free.
No, I think you're thinking too small here. This show was kind of like a black hole. This show was not the death of civilization. Maybe I would. Yeah, I think
it's the death of like galactic civilization. Like whoever's like
it's the death of matter.
Whoever's running around on the surface of Mars is also getting sucked into this mother.
Yeah. This show is sort of the death of intelligent thought, just in general.
This World War II metaphor, by the way, also has aliens. It's a very busy conceptually show because
no, it had aliens in the backstory to facilitate. They're a MacGuffin.
So we only really concern ourselves with 4 nations in this, maybe 5. I think France may be all maids on this show, and I think I can see Sam's organs shutting down over there. But it basically just concerns itself with like representations via little girl of America, England, Japan, and Germany.
We don't get introduced to the latter
when I saw
until the second episode, and we'll get to that. But
I had a little bet for myself when I saw that premise of the 4 nations to be fetishized, which was, okay, are they going to make America a bouncy loud moron, quiet gun strunk, or a riding cowgirl? And they did all 3
they did all of
across
them.
separate main characters.
They did all of them, y'all.
They did all of them.
And well, it makes...
I'm not an American...
It makes enough sense. It's not too amazingly surprising when you think about it. I mean, they have a lot of fucking waifus to fit into this, and they can at least come up with template personalities for at least 3 of them.
That is true. Like, you sort of start with stereotypes, unless you're the Japanese ones, which, while they are deeply rooted in stereotypes, are more interested in some kind of sister incest thing.
It's actually kind of fascinating how the Azure Lane itself is a Chinese game, right? Anime style. Azure Lane, the animation is very much a Japanese anime, right? The dialogue is all in Japanese. It was done by Japanese writers, directors, studios, near as I can tell. But it's really interesting. The Japanese have made themselves the villain of their own show here, right?
And like, do you cast that to like the adaptation from a Chinese source who would have certain thoughts about World War II era Japan and
maybe like the
war,
shit that they got
crime,
up to,
genocide, sexual assault at the same time,
various different things happening in various different cities,
limbs of children adding up to less than 4.
What I'm getting at here.
2-ish.
Sometimes not even 1. Sometimes sometimes less than 0.
I wish there were less photos of that. Moving on.
I guess it's probably good that there are, but at the same time, what does truth matter anymore? But what I'm getting at here is the Japanese, right? They cast themselves as the bad guys in their own show, and I'm confused just a little bit, because at one point, okay, this doesn't seem really like contrition so much as they've sort of written themselves like. I'm having a hard time. Okay, I'm gonna use.
The answer is simple and tragic.
I'm gonna use a wrestling metaphor because I'm very good at those.
Okay.
In the dying days of WCW, one of the head bookers, writer, whatever, guy's named Vince Russo. We mentioned him earlier on the program.
During our Jim Cornette impersonation, it would have been more accurate if I did sort of a 25-minute riff about launching like Vince Russo into the sun. That's his general mentality when it comes to that man.
What Vince Russo did is he basically wrote himself as the top bad guy of the company, which meant in his mind that he could and did pin Ric Flair clean. And I think also Hulk Hogan, don't quote me on that, but at the very least Ric Flair clean, held the championship for a good amount of time. It was a signal of the company's death knell.
For those of you that are exclusively weeaboos, what's a good point of comparison for Ric Flair? Kind of I don't know, that arrogance level that sort of draws you into Dio's orbit. And also with the sort of Dio quality of steroids.
Yeah, but a
lot more of a sort of
Joseph Joestar
/
rapper
panache. Wackiness or panache, yeah. Fun times, but he was popular and Vince Russo decided he was more important.
And it's interesting, I kind of got that vibe. I feel like I'm not making my point as well as I could be here. But you get that vibe from the Japanese battleship characters, Lord.
Having cool fox magic.
Having the cool fox magic. And they have such mysterious motives, and they have such intriguing incest.
That shot lingers.
I don't fucking
that
get
shot
it.
lingers.
I don't fucking get. Well, like I do get it. The aloes are at it again.
It is a
The
prolific.
aloes never stopped being at it, but they're especially at it right now.
It's a prolific section of Pornhub, Sam. The incest thing goes all the way down. It's like you will find more videos with incest than videos of like tracking shots.
They finally have their revenge for Hiroshima.
Yes. The virus has gone all the way down. I don't know, I see things like this. In the same way that like isekai makes me think that metafiction was a mistake, this show just makes me think the basic literary component of the metaphor was a mistake. After this, things should not be allowed to represent other things. I remember the internal. It's such a weird thing to be hung up on amid all the things that are wrong with this show, but I can't get over the fact that, like, in this internal metaphor where, like, the little girls are the ships holding all the guns and shit, at random, they can't decide if the fucking airplanes are the weapons they're carrying or just things will turn into airplanes at dramatically convenient moments and peck at them before they can kill your waifu. By the way, no one gets like permanently injured or killed or anything.
It becomes very clear around like halfway into the first action scene in this show that no one's ever gonna fucking die.
No one's gonna die.
It's absolutely like no one's eating a pin here. No one's going to like. You're not going to end the show with because like they're not gonna do that to your waifu.
Yeah,
they've
they're not
got
gonna,
too much money to extract.
They're not
from
even
you
gonna let
before
them
that.
like sit out an episode or two, which is really to the show's detriment because, like I was saying earlier, it gets impossible to get attached to any like one thing happening because they keep on having to insert these shots of your waifu from your DLC pack standing in the background, not doing much of importance or note, but they have to be there.
It's like they're kind of there because like There's sort of it's my waifu. They did the thing. There's this it almost seems like an infection of just they did the thing, they included the thing. Hey, that's there for me. Well, that is actually just the literal definition of fan service. I don't know why I'm kind of dressing it up like this.
It's but like hyper targeted fan service.
Hyper targeted fan service. There's I feel like there really should be a more specific, less umbrella term for this particular brand of fan service. You see it in Western. Well, that's easy.
Sorry.
You see it in Western media.
Trash.
Are you going to take this? Are you going to take this seriously, Dano?
Motherfucker, are they going to take this seriously? And you'd think that with all the loving frames of animation they put into like the incest groping, they'd find time to like, put some TLC on the violence that you're theoretically there for.
It was surprisingly lazy.
Shows have made the 3D fit the 2D or the 2D fit the 3D or whatever.
Not this time.
Not this time. It is so jarring. I almost get like, I don't know, you ever get like the bends when you're swimming or something? It just is.
I don't want to give this show this kind of credit, but there is something about this that made me kind of think this is the purest form of this media, or this medium, though, isn't it? Like, maybe I don't even like anime. Maybe this is where it leads. But no, I need to... Yeah, that's untrue.
Maybe we should track down our high school bullies with little apology baskets and say, I understand now.
I understand. Like, you
Thank
were right.
You
were
swirly.
Right this whole time. But
May
no,
I have
need
another, sir.
But then I went back to all the theory that I've read, and no, the problem isn't anime. The problem is capitalism.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of Chapo's Weeb House.
Let me be clear here. As I said before, this show is an advertisement for a mobile game, and it is genres like gacha and gacha anime, like isekai, that are so very much a product, so much more of a product. It's kind of interesting.
It's sort of a walking manifestation of like a page from the fucking Wealth of Nations just cartwheeling onto my screen, and I almost admire it as a sort of point of social development. Like, I kind of think that society may have reached a point where it could just operate without its humans pulling the levers. Like, isekais would just come out, cars would get made, things would get, like, dumped on reflex into the ocean.
People will just occasionally get brutally murdered for, like, there's no real reason now, and there wouldn't be any real reason then, but, like...
It's just on quota. It's just on routine. It's got, like... I'm talking, like, broader assembly lines here.
So... No, that is what I find kind of so despicable about this. Both just the commodification of what is quantifiably humanity's greatest tragedy to date. Jury's still out on, tragedies yet to come. But the commodification of humanity's greatest tragedy to date, the continued sort of monetization of human loneliness. That
is a wacky hobby.
That, starts with, your harem genre and, kind of continues into your isekai genre and your waifu gallery genre.
With none of the raw honesty of Brazzers or Young Republicans Club.
Well, here's the thing. Brazzers is not, Brazzers or porno, that's not... the commodification of loneliness. That's just the commodification of lust, right? And that's like...
Oh, true. We're talking about... So you're talking about, like, the dollar on that, like, fleeting sense of connection that you find on these shows.
It's less
on
sinister.
Friend discussion podcasts about niche media.
because like...
I'm hilarious, by the way.
A quick fucking choking of the weasel, right? That's, like, fine, whatever there. I don't...
Yeah, that only takes, like, 45 minutes.
What do you do with your day think about the things you could have been doing for those 45. Whatever. No, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge the aloes. I'm here to judge the bootlickers. Like I get the commodification of the male erection, right? There's a quick buck to be made there, right?
I'm pretty sure at least one unit of currency is pinned against that.
Could be. But the commodification of, yes, the male broken heart or the male loneliness. I'm not trying to exclude your women or your anything in between.
We're not trying to
outside.
excluding you. The marketers just didn't care about you.
The marketers just didn't care about you because clearly, like, you exist, you were there, you were valid, and you're absolutely not being targeted right here.
I don't know if you need to, like, increase your discretionary spending or get a lobby.
Make more noise make more noise online, form more like really fucking scary fucking subcultures.
I think that one of you really just needs to start pumping bullets into a crowd. I've got to be honest. Like that's the PR for your group.
No, I
not even just an incel group. Any like overlooked group in history. No one really gives a shit until you get violence. Like people were marching for a while about the whole like segregation thing, and then they saw Black Panthers with guns, and they thought we might want to have a conversation here. You know.
I think the conversation was COINTELPRO.
The conversation was COINTELPRO. It was wacky as shit.
Then the second half of the conversation was crack cocaine. Well, that's another discussion for another day.
Yeah, that might even just lose the weeb half of Chapo's Weeb House, man.
Yeah, no, that's we're gonna get a little bit off track. What I'm trying to get at here, and maybe I'm repeating myself a little bit, is that there is something kind of sinister about the idea of the manufactured waifu gallery. Like, if you create a character, right, and this character resonates with people, and perhaps people become even emotionally attached to this character, that is one thing. I become emotionally attached to characters. There was for years and years and years until they came up with the movie where they brought him the fuck back. I still refuse to believe that Lelouch v. Britannia was dead. I kept believing, no, he's the cart driver, guys. This was all part of his plan.
Something to know about the demographics of Weeaboo Hell. We were both, I would call it a Lelouch truther.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. He did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And also is still alive.
Yeah.
So there's something to that. But when you turn characters into a product in this way, I mean,
a lot of characters are inherently products, but there is no craft behind this. I guess the gap between you and me is that I have basically no moral center beyond, like, commandment level things.
There's something that just really bothers me on an elemental level about when purse strings and heartstrings become as one.
Not a fan of the, I guess, I was about to say life fibers. I guess like the opposite of life fibers. I guess these are just strings. Like the Ultron ad.
And that is what kind of bothers me about all this, because it actually has somewhat tainted my ability to enjoy even good anime, because I'm at this point so amazingly untrusting. For instance, one of my favorite anime of these last couple seasons, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba.
Demon Slayer Quartet?
Jesus fucking... No. We actually did an episode, a while ago about Demon Slayer, and I actually kind of forgot about it for a second there, and then
he fell into a deep Demon Slayer shaped hole, and now there's a literal pig head on his wall. So I think it's had some influence on him, or maybe
right, yeah, there he is.
Or maybe it was just waiting for him. Maybe he didn't know that the show didn't know that its fan was waiting out there just in the bushes.
The fucking pig is like legit on my wall, by the way. I will post a picture of it to the Twitter.
Oh, by the way, we are Weeaboo Hell on Twitter, and he does wonderful work with the account.
When I can think of shit to put there, you'll notice that my tweeting has become more sporadic since the Twitter launched.
The quality is still there, though.
I like to think so.
If I could throw something in here, and this is maybe a contrasting perspective on what a shit show this is.
Mm-hmm.
Violence, breasts, and World War II history are literally three of my favorite things in the world. Like, if I were to think of three of the things just keeping me alive, they would just all breach like the top 10, maybe 5. And this show is such a fascinating failure because I feel nothing at no point.
Have any of them actually kind of gone down a rung in this because of this show, or
Let's see. I think all of the titty shots have made me an ass man now. Like, I'm just all about butts. So that's one effect. I'm becoming a World War Weeaboo now because
I mean, like all patricians.
Like all patricians, yes. World War One is a really fun war that is mostly about how quickly people can move their stuff.
Sort of how a war can be lost in a week, and it takes 4 years for that loss to actually play out.
Unfortunately for my place on FBI watch list, violence's rank on my personal list is unchanged because all the action in this is so like weightless and plastic. I almost even have trouble filing it as violence in my brain.
That was my problem with Black Rock Shooter, which was very impressively animated, but not very impressively staged.
Yeah, that can be a real problem on an action-heavy show. And this is sort of an action-heavy show. Like, it's more about getting your waifu in for 3 frames before they go back to the... I'd say they really focus on 6 of these fucking ship girls. Like,
I would say like about 6 or so, yeah.
There's like 2 British ones that matter, one of whom dresses... I don't know, would you say a knight, a fop,
Oh, like kind of like a military commander. I got what they were going for.
Yeah,
like
you see the signifiers.
He's wearing like the whole the officer's coat, like the red officer's coat. It tracks. Like that's the thing. The character design on this tracks. It's still awful, but
it's more noisy awful than lack of effort awful.
No, absolutely. If anything, all the characters on this are over designed, which I guess is better than under designed. I'd rather have a headache than be bored.
Yeah, I like to see people tee up at bat, at least, when it comes to these fucking things.
So you get half a point for that, I guess. Even if it's still not good character design.
This album is not good.
There's something that seemed just very deeply uncreative about just having parts of a ship kind of hanging off the characters. I can't put my finger on why I felt so disdainful of it on a basic level.
It just keeps killing me that they keep weaving in and out of the ship metaphor, like visually. I know it is such a microcosmic thing to be hung up on with all the basic stuff wrong with this, but it makes it like hard to track, and it makes the things that get them out of tense situations feel arbitrary.
Oh yeah, there's kind of no shortage of oh no, they got saved at the last minute. It never stops fucking happening. Your waifu isn't going to die. There are no stakes. Yeah. There is no tension. Don't worry about it. Like, what makes me even more annoyed here is the fact that I can say all of this and I can be talking to an Azure Lane stan who's just like, yeah, I know, Mark.
Jesus.
That's not the point. We're just here for, we're just here for this to be delivered. It's just fan service. I'm just eating it because it's being fed to me. And I haven't even had this argument with this hypothetical stan yet. Yet I know I would.
It's coming. We hang around in fucking deep enough geek circles that you're going to encounter that man. And you basically need a muzzle, so you're going to have that argument instead of just sort of watching him wallow in his filth.
Maybe I'll just obliquely tweet about it.
No, that will never be us. You will have that shitty argument in person before you subtweet that man. Such is the way of the samurai.
I'll have to find him.
Liveth by sword, dieth by sword.
It's just so fucking frustrating. Just like, look at this idiot looking for story structure or anything other than just, it's your favorite. It's like, oh god, it's like a fucking Golden Corral. It's a shitty buffet of a show.
There was a flyby thing. It's so fast, and they do mostly focus on the battlefield stuff too. I could say credit, maybe they're a detriment because nothing really develops, but there's a flyby thing in one of the only indoor scenes where they made sure to caption that building as a fucking academy. Because on top of everything else, it still had to be
in a high
school. As if Noah came down with 2 tablets. Moses, whatever. I'm an atheist. Who cares? As if bearded fake man came down. Fakey man, not exist, religion. Okay, let me start over. I swear I can get through this joke. Okay. God isn't real. Alright. I can do this. Please believe in me. I need you all to put your hands together and say Denard can get through this riff. As if between not existing and being made up, Moses or Noah, or I think maybe it's Jesus, came down with 2 iPads open to our atheism and said, hey, by the way, I'm not real, but also all anime, which is equally as true as me, needs to have or mention a high school in it. High school being a thing that exists, unlike most precepts of Abrahamic religion. Okay. Now that...
Tell us how you really feel.
In the interest of fairness, to those of a more religious persuasion who might be offended, kiss my ass, suck my dick, eat my elbows. It's a new thing. People eat elbows. Now that you've
alienated, like a decent part of
I'm pretty sure, isn't America like 85 or something for I don't even know what the number is, whatever.
It's higher than it should be.
Suck it ratings. They're going up too, that's a fucking funny thing.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
We'll see about that.
We love all of our religious listeners.
Sam loves all of our religious listeners. Okay, I can do this.
No, Ben Kissel says shit like this, and they're one of the most popular podcasts I know of.
True.
If I say shit like this too after you say shit like that, maybe we can be one of the most popular podcasts. We love all of our religious listeners out there. You're all wonderful.
Oh man. So, I guess we should give some time. You might have noticed by the runtime the episode is a little slanted into proportion between the 2 shows.
Maybe because we had 2 episodes of content worth that we were dealing with here, but give it a sec, because I think I had more notes for our second show.
I am impressed that you do, because Rifle is Beautiful. That's show number 2. It's called Rifle is Beautiful. That's a clever title. Is this a clever show? Yes, very clever. Because this is a show that has shown me Zen. It has shown me what it means to think and feel nothing.
Well, here's the thing. I am aware of the fact that I kind of go off on new genres that are terrible, and I'm not going to be persuaded otherwise. But I don't want to be thought of as kind of conservative or the wrong generation-y here.
Right.
So
I would like to guarantee you, for your comfort, that you were equally cantankerous when you were like 13.
I think I just got savvier.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
the diction is way up there now.
But what I'm getting at here is that I go off on shit like isekai and now gacha genres, very like new trends, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be thought of as kind of standing for the old school here. So we're taking a look at a very old school genre here.
Yeah, this is actually a sort of played out type of terrible.
Somewhat. We'll get to that. There's case for, case against. This is a somewhat old school genre. That genre being slice of life. That has I would say existed in some form or another. Oh God.
What I would say
for a good long while. I think it kind of reached its most popular sometime in the late 2000s or so.
Sounds right. One thing I would say about slice of life is every genre has its sort of internal hit rate. It's never entirely good or bad. I even hear like Shield Hero is decent and almost justify Isekai's fucking existence, but
No, Konosuba justifies Isekai's existence.
duly noted. I'll give it a shot.
It's hilarious.
But yeah, like every genre has that hit rate. But slice of life, for my money, when you go into that like first little high school writer's workshop, the first thing they'll fucking tell you is
Have shit happen.
have shit happen. Not only that, but remember, why today? This is the most interesting day of your characters' lives. And slice of life, you finish your reel of coke, it's like, fuck that. Time to do some laundry, bitch. And I almost understand how it happened.
Azumanga Daioh was not the first slice of life, but I think it was the thing that popularized the genre. Unless I'm forgetting something huge, and I might.
Oh, so Azumanga Daioh is like more like the Elvis than like the River City Blues.
2004, I want to say, is when that aired. It could have been a little bit later than that, but
we do not have a source zombie this time.
I should find a source zombie.
That could be a good mission. That could be a good episode.
This is actually kind of interesting to me. But
I bet you know what. You know what I bet fucking happened? I bet the first one was great because it was just doing its own thing. It had an idea.
Azumanga Daioh was great. It was really funny.
I'll give it a relook.
By the manga was by the same guy who did Yotsuba, which like manages to be just the most effortlessly charming piece of media.
Odds are he's right and I'm wrong because I'm generally biased against everything that happened in 2004 because we got into a war for no reason.
Oh, that did happen, that didn't it?
Oh yeah, I was a pissy motherfucker.
Did you know that it was because of all of this that the Food Network became as big as it was in the early to mid 2000s? Because
I had no idea, for real.
Yeah, no, I was listening to Alton Brown talk about it. It was because that like in the wake of 9/11, people needed something comfortable. They needed something that like was harmless and made them feel good, so they started watching cooking shows. And that is how Alton Brown and Bobby Flay and Emerald Lagasse and Guy Fieri, that's how they all got rich.
What a unique combo between like bread and circus. That's impressive.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's
that's the power of teamwork.
I would go so far as to say that the same sort of thing is happening these days.
No, I can totally see what you mean. Like, a lot of media that's considered a bit more of, like, something to turn your brain off or empty calories or... Not even necessarily, like, low engagement media, but things you can really fall into are gaining steam with all the uncertainty with...
the world
within
general.
The world, within the current era.
Yeah, I would say streaming, generally speaking. The, like, bingeable TV, peak TV even. That is, That did not happen out of nowhere, and it did not happen for accident.
That is an excellent point. I think people sort of want to have that eyes tape back scene from A Clockwork Orange happen to them.
I certainly do. Jesus. Do you have any idea the lengths I go to avoid the news?
Now, we've talked about a lot of social forces here because Rifle is Beautiful is a chasm.
Yeah, there's so much and so little to talk about.
I guess I should do broad strokes first. Let me just contextualize this bullshit.
Yeah, contextualize what? It's not about anything. Honest to
it's
fucking
not about
God.
anything, but there are 4 mannequins to introduce, and I'm going to introduce them. So the first mannequin is Rei Ayanami from Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Well, to be fair, she's the 4th mannequin.
She is the 4th mannequin. I just want to do that joke first, but yeah. All right, so our first mannequin is a lobotomized rabbit,
and she speaks like you would imagine a lobotomized rabbit speaks. That is what her voice sounds like.
And you already know her personality. She's silly.
She's happy and dumb, and so the second mannequin.
So our second mannequin, she
has no personality.
She
doesn't have a personality. According to other characters, she does, because they will not stop talking out loud about one another's character traits as if they possess these traits. They don't, but they will not stop talking about how they do.
It is wild.
Second mannequin is apparently bookish and serious and fastidious, conscientious, a lot of other is's.
She is a springboard for other people to be loud next to.
as if they had personalities of their own. A straight
Essentially,
man
straight man in a world
in a show where no one's actually making any jokes off of them.
Yeah.
She seems kind of homeless, really.
So if you see her on the street, just put like a dime in her cup. Then take the cup because there's a lot of nice change in there. She's not using it for anything. She's animated. She's fake. Like Moses. Damn it! Like Moses. Stop. What? Can't I stop?
See her on the street, you can remind her that it would cost society less to house her than it would to have her continue being homeless. But that's none of my business. No, she kind of reminds me of the character that you sort of see in your typical show set at a high school, where you have the main core of characters, right? And then the main character has usually, I want to say, two characters in their homeroom
like those
class
two guys. They are very
that they
expendable.
kind of talk to in between scenes when, I don't know, some message needs to be relayed to the audience for some reason, and they need someone giving information to another character so that the audience can glean that information.
Now, what's
and
wild?
That is this character. That is what this character reminds me of. One of the characters in another character's homeroom class who sits there to listen to whatever exposition needs to take place.
What is wild about that design is not only does she have design of those two guys' characters, but this show also has a pair of those two guys' side characters.
We saw them for all of 50 seconds
all
or so,
50
but
seconds.
they were there.
Their designs are about, I don't know, 2 pawn moves on the chessboard away from hers.
Yeah, they weren't much less interesting than the character designs of... Oh, yeah, no. We touched on this earlier, but
yes.
two of the two other characters, the two other members of the cast are Asuka and Rei. They are just Asuka and Rei. They're Asuka and Rei drawn, I suppose, in the kind of shitty blobby art style of this series, but they are in fact just Asuka and just Rei.
I think you mean the house creative affectation. Yeah, it's fucking wild. I think that when aliens finish shifting through Earth's transmissions, Asuka and Rei, by sheer weight of numbers of iterations on them, are going to be thought of as classic archetypes of human culture.
They're not necessarily going to be wrong. Maybe they haven't been...
It's just weird. It's weird to watch it fucking happen.
They have not been around quite as often as, your Campbellian hero, or your Shakespeare, your Iago from Shakespeare. But they getting to be 30 years now.
It's going to be weird being 80s, chipping away in the mines, hiding from the searchlights. And I'm going to look at an entertainment feed, and I'm going to see an aggressive, bouncy redhead saying, Baka, don't you love the master, Baka?
What are you, stupid?
Yeah, it's going to be strange. And then, I feel the electric shock in the base of my spine as I've finally been caught.
And we both get polio.
This episode is sponsored by polio, by the way. So yeah, these 4 are part of the fucking laser rifle club, right?
Well, the rifle shooting club, but then they get into how they're not even delivering on the sort of premise of the show. They're so here's the thing, gun control laws being what they are in Japan, I guess any sort of rifle shooting club does not actually handle real rifles. They are just they shoot lasers that not like Star Wars lasers or anything, but literally just
laser
infrared lasers that sort of show up on a digital target, and it's the most uninteresting shit. Halfway because everything's kind of robbed of its impact. These characters can't even be proper gun nuts because the guns aren't even real. I can't
one
really
of the
complain
only
about
possible
that.
points of engagement of this thing are just yanked right out from under it, which contributes to it being a void of nothing. And I couldn't help but think, in seeing that rifle club, seeing the laser rifle club, and maybe it's a huge thing elsewhere and I just don't know because I live here in Eagle Land and they give you an AK-47 on your first fucking Christmas.
I was actually kind of worried about you when you went to see the Joker the other week.
Yeah, I wore a flak jacket. We're cool. I couldn't help but think that, normally it's unrealistic that this club is only these teenage girls, but I think that it's actually accurate in this case. it shows the difference between like male and female socialization, because in like young toxic male socialization, everyone you know would call you a pussy for being in that club. Everyone you know, you will hear every homophobic slur in the fucking dictionary in the first week. It's like, hey there, bitch boy, how's the laser pointer club going? They would beat the fuck out of you. They would hit you until you bring a real gun to school. Yeah, that is what happens when you join the laser rifle club in an American high school as a man. But this is a different, softer experience, I guess.
Soft is definitely the word for it. Oh, earlier on, I was sort of going to talk about how this is sort of a new, what would you call it, subgenre of slice of life, and it's not so much new, but just has gained more popularity in recent years. Kind of the sports club anime, and you have like your decent entries in this, like your oh god, what's the name of the volleyball one? It was pretty good.
It's not Haikyuu, right?
Haikyuu, there we go.
Haikyuu, yeah.
Haikyuu, which was pretty good. Free, which was not for me. And that's fine. I was not.
He's not even talking about likes or dislikes. He means literally not marketed towards him.
It was not for me. It was for others, and they enjoyed it just fine. It was for aloes. Or your there's the basketball one, not Slam Dunk. The more recent.
I think that one's plottier. That's more classic.
That's more just like a classic. Yeah. Like someone's basketball, something like that. Anyway, yeah, no, like a genre that has been gaining some popularity in recent years, the sports club genre of slice of life, where like there's sort of equal focus, or sometimes focus slanted towards the sports part of sports club, or the sports half of sports club, right? Then there's this. So like this is part of that particular subgenre, and it could not be any less interested in the sports part of it, even though that seems to be the main premise. It takes them.
In the entire information dump they gave us on this fucking sport.
Oh yeah, go for it.
One fact stuck with me. One shred of human data. I found one thing interesting, and it was just that they wear suits that are relatively rigid the whole of their position. And it said it as quickly as I said it, and then the rest of the episode was still waiting there.
It seems like it's cheating too. Like, shouldn't it be? Shouldn't you? Have
it would probably be a way more interesting sport without them. Yeah.
Shouldn't you have to do it yourself? Like, that's what makes you, or that's what kind of separates someone who's skilled from someone who is not skilled.
But have you considered go fuck yourself?
Many times tonight. Yes.
It's true.
But here's the thing: at no point, in this show is the supposed subject of the show, the rifle shooting aspect of it. That's like the club that they're part of. It's no point is it treated as anything more than incidental. Like you could replace it with literally fucking anything else because the show doesn't care, because it seems to think that you don't care either, that you're just here for the cute interactions. And I gotta fucking tell you,
they
not
are
even that cute.
Such a non-entity. And they get a structural thing wrong that other bad shows understand this.
Causality.
Like, things happen in a chain. Like, for example, we are introduced to these four existing as separate social entities, and we just smash cut to them as a cohesive club, and the entire plot of these things, the entire thing that people like enjoy or get catharsis out of, like, oh, I saw them sort of come together.
Now, that happens cool. In the first 4 minutes of the show. And then they're all best friends, and they do things. And they don't even do interesting things. They just do these mundane things. Like,
they not only skip the process of getting to know each other. Like, it'd be bad if they just skip to the high five, we're a team now scene. They even skip over that to the point where this shit has become routine and boring. It's like skipping from like meet cute to dead bedroom.
No, for real. And
then skipping the divorce.
The interactions between all of them. 75% of the interactions 25% is sexual harassment because I don't get Japan.
We barely
sometimes.
even react to it anymore.
Yeah, no, it's like it's just fucking like will never stop happening. They'll always just keep groping each other because I guess that's funny to their target audience. I don't know. But 75% of their interactions are just one character telling another character what that character's personality trait is. And I'm not even fucking joking. They keep doing it. They will not stop.
Actually be a decent drinking game for this, and by drinking game I mean you would die.
Dying game.
It's the end.
A method of assisted suicide. Anime assisted suicide. That
series title. Write that shit down.
fuck me. Yeah, no.
No, I'm gonna literally write down. Fuck it.
Anime assisted suicide. Okay.
You can pick it up on the mic. These are fancy microphones, by the way. We invested in Weeaboo Hell. It's like you have to buy. It's like how you have to buy like high grade BDSM equipment to really make sure you feel the lash that you put on yourself. That might be our new subtitle: anime assisted suicide. Shit, I don't know.
Fuck me. I'm not gonna make Morgan. I'm not gonna make Morgan design a new logo.
Fair. Oh, and by the way, Morgan is the homeless guy that lives in his apartment.
That is what she is. Yes. There is this thing that I said about a show that I like.
Which one?
This show is Steven Universe, inexplicably getting a sixth season, as we just learned. Who to fucking thunk? That movie seemed like quite a definitive ending. You need to see the rest of that, by the way. We could probably do that later tonight.
Yeah, I have a horrific habit of getting halfway through great media, and it seems to make everyone I want to put little nails beneath my fingertips until I finish.
It can be trying. But that show I have kind of described as something similar to Klonopin. It is a show that I find to be relaxing and makes me feel less existential stress and dread. It makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. Just through like the stuff that happens in it, the lessons that it teaches, right? It is Klonopin, right? This show is Valium. This show just makes me feel less. This show makes me kind of sink into the couch and forget that I am an individual with, an ego. Not like, I'm not even talking like an ego as in like I'm particularly proud or arrogant. I mean like literally an ego, a personality. Yeah. I forget that I exist. I forget that I take up space. I just sort of become part of existence in general. As I always was, but the boundaries between myself and the rest of the universe are less now, and not in a good way, in a sort of ego death sort of way.
Yeah, I can definitely feel like the last song on a Mastodon album kick off and the walls melt a bit. And I look back at my past lives and I see just a lineage of sarcastic dick fucks going back to the Stone Age. Haha, Og is hack. He tried to make wheel but make square. And then I launch back into the present, and the credits are rolling, and I start panic because I don't know what the fuck just happened, and I'm scared because I felt all of them die. I experienced all of those past lives' deaths, and several of them died violently.
See, you go backwards, I go forwards. I look at that screen, I fade out of my body, I disassociate from myself, and I go forward in time from now to the death of the galaxy, to the death of the universe, to the rebirth of the universe, because I think there's this theory that it kind of breathes in and out. Less of a big bang, more of a big lung. To its rebirth, and all time goes in reverse this time, but it's normal this time because, like, how else are they going to experience it? Forward? Nope, not in this cycle. And then it keeps happening, and I see eternity stretch out before me in this show, because there are no distractions anymore. There's nothing separating me from the rest of eternity. Because I have no reason to concentrate on those distractions anymore because there's nothing fucking happening.
For the record, if music copyright law wasn't what it was, I would have just started trickling in like Crack in the Sky or something at that point. Crack in the Sky. By the way, all that shit you just said, still better than Azure Lane.
Still better than Azure Lane, yeah.
Wide shot. It's kind of fucking tragic.
It's really kind of interesting. How this was so fucking terrible, and then Azure Lane was so much worse. I think it was because there was something so much more nakedly greedy about Azure Lane. Like, this is just low effort. It was just like kind of like I'm doing a jacking off motion right now.
Yeah.
There something like this was just kind of like spurted out, very low effort. Whatever, fuck you, you'll buy it.
Yeah.
Azure Lane was so much more targeted and calculated and sinister than this. This was just incompetent. It was lazy. The character design sucked. The characters themselves were annoying at best and non-entities at worst.
I'm gonna get this canceled real quick.
Oh boy, you're about to say it, aren't you?
No, I'm not about to say it. Though I could. I'm black, by the way, Jamaican American, whatever. But having walked down Atlantic City, I would compare the relative experience between these two bad shows as like being solicited by different types of pimps. Like, this Rifle is Beautiful show is like it's a pimp who offers you like a normal prostitute. You're like, no thanks.
It's okay.
And then later on, it's way late. It's way later. There are a few people out. This other pimp sort of points his troll. Like, whoa, what the fuck? What the fuck? No, I'm calling the fucking cops. Get the fuck out of here. You motherfucker. And
I would almost sort of compare Azure Lane to sort of the pimp where you don't actually know that it's a pimp that you're talking to until 45 minutes or so into the conversation, because he's fucking got you. You're a fucking mark, and he has marked you, and he knows exactly what to tell you. He knows exactly what kind of lies you need to hear in order to, have tacitly agreed to buy his the product that he is selling you.
I'm pretty sure the best pimp in Atlantic City gets to be mayor. I think it's a rule.
Sick. Wikipedia.
By the way, something that was interesting to me was these shows were really sort of laser focused on that male observer demographic, and I kind of wonder if that's a missed for two heavily marketed shows. I feel like you can sort of thread a needle with these. Like, when it's all teenage girls, you probably can wrap that bow up in a way.
Apologies to Marty Small Sr. Go ahead.
Marty Small's very enterprising pimp. Now, I feel like you could get like some girls watching like an all-girl fucking sports shooting show or a fucking shitty battleship action show.
They do. They have. Like, I don't know which one, but I don't know, there was the diving anime from a couple years back, or maybe it wasn't even that long ago. I feel like that had, a viewership that was not just male. Because there's actually something to the fucking show. But I can guarantee you, I cannot imagine. No, this is... I don't feel great about sort of prescribing something like this, but just...
I love prescriptions. I prescribe all day.
But I just cannot imagine this show being viewed by anyone other than, the single male. And then, idiots like us who are trying to learn something.
It's almost even less male gaze. It's almost more like the contacts over the male gaze. Like, it is notched into your eye. But that's more the ship show. This one is way less... Actually, this one doesn't even focus... Rifle is Beautiful doesn't focus enough on the deviance to even, like, really fulfill, like, something for some of that demographic. Like, they'll get, like, a jolt every 3 minutes during some weird sweaty titty shot. But
when I say male, by the way, there's going to be kind of like a silent cis in front of it here, just for just in the interest of... Go on. Because...
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. So, after our religion is fake, kill all landlords, and pimp jokes, we need to make sure that we represent all the people that we could be potentially insulting at this program. So,
I cover my bases, Denard.
We are insulting both cis and trans people of faith. Both cis and trans capitalists. Both cis and trans people that think jokes about pimps are offensive. You are seen. You are valid. Enjoy that.
Okay, now that is out of the way.
Any closing notes on Rifle is Beautiful?
just my actual notes. Yes.
All right.
I don't know what happened in the last 3 or so minutes of the first episode. I wasn't watching. I was I was at my notebook, just sort of madly scribbling the words "and then" several dozen times in the margins, between lines, wherever I could fit it. Just and then, and then, and then, and then, and then, because that is how this episode is structured, and this is how I imagine the show at large will be structured. Just series of they're not even vignettes, because a vignette is sort of like a self-contained little story, right? No, these are just things that are happen. What's a smaller unit than a vignette?
Snapshot?
Not even a snapshot. That might even be interesting. Just them sort of sitting there, and then they say things at one another. And kind of do things at one another. And at no point am I ever under the illusion that these people are human beings.
It is a walking fucking tragedy. If I were to provide a closing note, I did watch the last 3 minutes because my relationship with me is great. And when I saw in the closing animation that there were more waifu girls coming in this show, I felt this flash of fascination, because they all, to me, they were like the gym leaders in a Pokemon fan game. I didn't even know what the fuck I was looking at.
They
At some
had that
point.
level of character design. Like, yeah, they
that
had
level
character
of the
design.
tropes unfolding before your eyes and time stretching before you. And
these are characters. They have character designs, and that's like the most that you can say about them and how they're drawn. My whole thing is that the show does not seem to be for anyone, right? It's not for the casual viewer who would watch a sort of a sort of, I guess, sporty sort of anime where, like, in addition to, you know, just like chilling with, you know, fun, cute characters, you also learn something about, you know, the sport that they're playing. Because I really don't think that the author, writing staff, whatever, did anything more than, like, take a look at one or two Wikipedia pages for a second there, right? So you're not getting anything out of it from there. Then there's the sector of the audience who came here for the sport in question. Like, what if this is like, if this, you know, ended up being a /K show, right? But it wouldn't, because they spent a grand total of, I want to say, maybe 3 minutes of the first episode's runtime actually handling / talking about these rifles that they shoot. Maybe I can be generous and bump that up to 4, but I really don't.
Yeah, this show's NRA spirit is not strong. It would have been better as right-wing propaganda.
Honestly, God, I would have loved a show where the 4 main characters are all, like, they're all still drawn the same way, or maybe they're drawn slightly better, except the difference is that they're all 4 different flavors of, like, crazy-ass fucking gun nut.
Dude, give me, like, Gun Fever, the anime.
No, totally. Not like, here's the thing. You've got your sort of Imperial Japan apologist, right?
Yes.
You have your sort of your fucking giant fucking, like, hunting nerd, right? Mm-hmm. You have your
American exchange student.
One who is in it less for the hunting side of things, more just because the technology and all of the various nuance there is fascinating. They're really, like, technical gun nerd. And then the 4th one's a fucking tanky. And she and the Imperial Japan apologist fucking hate each other.
Boy, Sam, why do you want a tanky in this perspective show? What's in that for you? What's going on here, Sam? What's your thoughts there, Mr. Thin Red Line?
Relatability.
On that note, now that we have successfully canceled ourselves 5 times this episode.
With 5 different demographics, I'm sure.
It's pretty impressive, actually. Like, I bet somewhere out there's a guy who was just loving this show until now, and he was a hardcore supporter of his mayor in Atlantic City. He's like, why the fuck these 2 anime podcasters are calling his favorite politician an up-jumped pimp?
I'm sorry. Kind of. Not
You know what?
really.
Fuck it. I won't apologize for the God thing. I won't apologize for the prostitute joke. I won't apologize for the fucking kill landlord joke or any of that. No. You know what? That mayor, I have no idea what you're like. Maybe you're great. Maybe you're what Atlantic City needs. You are the only person that will ever get an apology from Weeaboo Hell.
It is impressive. I mean, you haven't known Denard as long as I have, but he does not issue these things every day. Count yourself lucky. Fuck. Count yourself lucky. Count yourself lucky. Marty Small Sr.
It's elusive. Anyway, this is Weeaboo Hell. Follow us on, I should promote the fucking Twitter. You do a lot of good stuff with that. Follow us on @Weeaboo Hell, not hard to remember, on Twitter. There's an Instagram. We literally never fucking use it. Actually, don't follow us on Instagram. Don't waste a click. You keep your like followee ratio on Instagram clean. Give us the Twitter.
I don't really know what I'd take pictures of other than the boar.
We're also on weeaboohell.com. Again, not tough.
It's well, yeah.
This has been Weeaboo Hell. It's Weeaboo Hell. I'm Blind Monkey, aka Denard Dale.
I'm Mute Monkey, aka Sam Legault.
Have a good one.
What I'm getting at here, let me go to my notes.
He's dipping into the archive. He's consulting the necrosages in the old Magic the Gathering terms. Man, that is one, like, that's like a sound mechanical experience that's ruined by the people you do it with.
Yeah, that's like the trick. You have to find, and it's so easy to find the wrong people, but you have to find the right ones.